All right. Please. Okay, thank you. Welcome to the parallel event titled Empowering Mountain Women Economically Through Inclusive Student-Engaged Learning Model. Our joint UVU, Utah Valley University, the Kyrgyz Republic team advocated for mountain women by contributing to the side event on March 14th, 2024, within the 68th session of the Commission of the Status of Women. This event is part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals class, and students enrolled in it will report about their research focusing on different aspects of mountain women advocacy and service projects. These activities are implemented as preparations for this parallel event based on inclusive student engaged learning, SEL. SEL encourages all students to work as a group to solve real-world problems such as advocating for sustainable mountain development, with faculty serving as mentors. More than 50% of their final grade for this class is earned through SEL. Since 2011, UVU SEL model uses student clubs as a simple educational tool available to any academic institution worldwide. They are also important for students learning outside of the classroom, providing opportunities to work interdependently in groups and through mentoring experiences led by faculty. A unique aspect of the UVU model is the involvement of traditional and non-traditional students. Non-traditional students are 25 years old or older and usually avoid extracurricular activities. However, this model provides non-traditional students incentives such as flexible activity scheduling, involvement of families, and gaining recognition for their contributions. It is provided through a structure and functioning of the Utah International Mountain Forum, a coalition of student clubs at UVU. Due to that, non-traditional students contribute to the model vital skills and experiences that their traditional peers do not have. Still, the tutoring of traditional students, they tutor traditional students and help them expand their abilities and perspectives. This makes the model student-centric and activity student-driven. Now the speakers for this event have come from all around the world in many rural areas and mountainous regions, and they will represent non-traditional students and traditional students who have participated in the SEL model and will present a synopsis of their research and experiences. If anyone has any questions, please submit them over the chat. We'll have a Q&A session after the presentations. Dr. Butler.
Dear colleagues, my name is Rusty Butler, retired Associate Vice President of Utah Valley University, serving from 1992 to 2016. Also, I was the first Mountain Partnership focal point at UVU from 2006 to 2016. Thanks to the Inclusive Student Engaged Learning, or SEL model, I voice my strong support for the families and women who live in the mountain regions of the state of Utah and globally. I congratulate my dear longtime friend, Dr. Bakhtibek Abdisayev, for developing the SEL model and integrating it into this class on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It encourages both traditional and non-traditional students to work together to resolve existing problems among local mountain communities under the mentorship of faculty members. I personally do this as a non-traditional student and lifelong learner enrolled in this very class. It was my special pleasure to contribute to the development of the SEL model in my previous official capacity. I wish to highlight my strong ties with both the Kyrgyz Republic and the Mountain Partnership, which started in 1999 when we hosted Ambassador Bakhtibek Abdisayev and his wife, Jolpon Atamayeva, at Utah Valley University. I was supported in my efforts by my late wife, Danielle Butler, who also was the honorary consul of the Kyrgyz Republic to the state of Utah from 2003 to 2011. Since 2005, Dr. Bakhtibek Abdisayev joined the UVU faculty. Our university has partnered with the International University of Kyrgyzstan and Osh Technological University. With them, we have jointly observed December 11th as International Mountain Day every year since 2010. And in 2012, we celebrated it in Kyrgyzstan by hosting a mountain and climate conference. UVU and the International University also co-hosted the International Women of the Mountains Conference in 2007, 2011, 2013, and 2016 as forums to provide the gender agenda in North America and beyond. The fourth Women of the Mountain Conference was held in Utah with UVU students organizing and hosting it through SDL. The 2016 United Nations Secretary General's report on SMD highlighted our student success in hosting Women of the Mountains. Since 2018, it has been a tradition for students from UVU and the Kyrgyz Republic to contribute to the agenda of sessions of the Commission on the Status of Women. Today, we again jointly advocate for mountain women at CSW 68. I am pleased to continue my efforts and contributions to this noble cause. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Janessa Michelle Purcell, and I'm a political science student from Utah Valley University. It is my special honor and pleasure to raise my voice during this parallel event in support of women and girls from the mountain communities. I'm also grateful to be a voice for my native mountain communities in Hawaii. It is imperative for these communities to be included in the focus of this session as they encounter many challenges in their pursuit to achieve sustainable development. Many of them can relate in particular to the harsh natural conditions, remoteness, lack of services, and the emerging threat from climate change. As members of the Utah International Mountain Forum and UVU Rotaract Club, we collaborate in many of our initiatives. Our team partners with Rotarians from Orem Linden, the Bishkek Rotary Clubs, Bishkek Nomad Rotaractors, and the Kirch Republic. We serve local communities by planting trees, selling oranges, delivering coats and dictionaries to kids in elementary schools in Orem, Utah. In addition, we are happy to highlight the involvement of students from Asbury University in Kentucky, located in the Appalachian Mountains, in our partnership. This past December, our joint team of Rotaractors hosted Ambassador Aida Kosmalia at UVU, and with this model, we jointly observed the annual International Mountain Day for the 14th time. It is my hope that today's parallel event will demonstrate the impact and advantages of this model for the advocacy of mountain women and girls. It is accessible at any campus, particularly in rural and mountain areas around the world. I'm eager to implement the Sustainable Development Goals through the SEL model in my native island of Oahu, Hawaii, where we are surrounded by the ocean and share the land with our one-of-a-kind mountain regions. Just like my ancestors that came from the small island nation of Samoa and the magnificent countries of Africa, we depend on the land for our needs. This initiative can make education an important pillar for the implementation of the United Nations Resolution, 5 Years of Action for the Development of Mountain Regions. In closing, in taking time to invest in women and girls of the mountains, we are investing in future generations to come. Thank you.
Good morning. I am a political science student at Utah Valley University, and I'm thankful for this opportunity to take part in this important forum and speak with you today about my unique experience as a 7th-generation descendant of mountain women. As part of the student-engaged learning model, I have been involved in group activities to resolve certain practical problems while our teacher mentored us. As a problem to be resolved, I have spent the last few months learning as much as I can about the experiences of women who live in mountainous regions around the world. And in that process, I have felt a connection to them for the experiences that we share here in Utah. Though we are worlds apart, certain commonalities have connected us. For example, I've been first-hand witness to the differences in gender issues in mountain regions as compared to other regions. A recent study published using data from the U.S. Census Bureau and the Bureau of Labor Statistics ranked the state of Utah as the worst state in the United States for gender equality. Personal anecdotes from my mother, my grandmother, and her mother all testify of opportunities stolen, resources withheld, and voices ignored. It wasn't unheard of for them to forego dinner or their own education to provide for the needs of their children. Theirs are not stories that are unfamiliar to the many powerful women who have no doubt faced similar challenges, but it is also no secret that oftentimes social reform and civil rights can take a bit longer to reach mountain communities, with their traditions almost as firm as the rocky giants that surround them. I would like to invite everyone in attendance to remember the needs of the women in the rural and mountainous regions of your home country. as well as those in states around the world. If they aren't able to do so for themselves, let us be the ones to do it for them. Let us lift up their voices and make space for them in the pursuit of changing the world for women. We cannot afford to leave them behind. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on this day of March 20th, 2024, I am honored to discuss a cause that is deeply close to my heart: the education of women and girls living in Mountain House region, facilitated through student engaging learning SEL. SEL involves students to solve practical problems together with the advice of the teacher, and the student club like the Rotaract are well suited for this model. Since September 2023, I have been preparing to embark on a new chapter of my life. As a student at the Utah Valley University, UVU, and a member of the Utah International Mountain Forum, a coalition of student clubs at UVU. UIMF also includes UVU Rotaract and its partner with OM Landem Rotary Club. Regarding to the OM Landem Rotary Club, since I arrived in the United States, I have constantly had the privilege of learning and serving there. The member of this club, older and with more experience than me, have greatly contributed to my personal development while allowing me to actively engage in community action here in the United States. From classroom training with experienced teacher to field action, every experience with this club has enriched me. I am convinced that the OM Landem Rotary Club has brought me much more than what I have offered them in return. These ties help me to be involved in service projects benefiting local mountain community in OM and London, and to advocate for the improvement of the livelihoods of those community, family, and women. They also help me to get connected with my peers in my native country, Republic of Congo. From April 2020 until recently, I was a Rotaract Club member in Brazzaville, Republic of Congo. Over the past year, I have had the privilege of engaging in community action within the Brazzaville, Republic of Congo Rotary Club in my home country, where I have contributed to events and initiatives that aimed at serving and strengthening my community. As a Rotaract, I have been committed to promoting mutual dignity and access to education for all, particularly for women who are often marginalized. In this spirit, I co-founded in 2021 with partners the Startup Lunch Clubs in Brazzaville, Republic of Congo, and Gabon. Our startup was financed by personal funds and through fundraising campaign. This initiative they aimed to provide young mothers in my community at Brazzaville and soon Libreville with training and entrepreneurships and gain financial independence through selling second-hand clothes. We helped approximately 11 young women and girls to start their business through our program. In the Mountain House region, where geographical and social economic challenge abound, investing in humans' education is of paramount importance. Not only does it open door for individual empowerment, but it also contributes to strengthening community as a whole. Today, I invite you all to join us in this crucial commitment to the SEL-based, inclusive, and equitable educational initiative for all. By uniting our efforts and sharing our knowledge and resources, we can truly create a better and fair future for women and girls in the Mountain House region, and by extension, for all inhabitants of this world. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Braden Ibarra, and I'm a political science and philosophy student at Utah Valley University. Today, I have the privilege of speaking in support of mountain women and girls. We must address these communities due to their vital importance towards achieving inclusive, sustainable development for all. At UVU, we have been championing gender issues through Sustainable Mountain Development (SMD) since 2011 by using the Student Engaged Learning (SEL) model.
We advocate for SMD through a co-curricular SEL model. The extracurricular core of this model is the Utah International Mountain Forum, UIMF, a coalition of student clubs. This also includes Rotaract, a student club for Rotary International. Through SEL, we tackle real-world problems as a team of both traditional and non-traditional students. Non-traditional students are 25 years and older, and they take on a mentorship role within the club. As a traditional student myself, my non-traditional peers' advice and experience has been invaluable. I am a vice president of UIMF and a member of the UVU Rotaract. We work with Rotarians from Orem, Linden, and Bishkek Rotary Clubs. Through our efforts, we have organized and participated in service projects that positively impact our communities, such as observing World Polio Day, contributing coats for students at local Title I schools, and hosting distinguished guests, such as the sponsor of this event, the permanent representative of the Kyrgyz Republic to the United Nations, Ambassador Ida Kazimedliyev. In December last year, together we observed the annual International Mountain Day at UVU for the 14th time. The skills and experiences gained through our efforts are not only valuable locally, but can be shared globally, and we are demonstrating this by working with other mountain states. The SEL model has proven to be effective in tackling challenges with a specific emphasis on SMD advocacy and the empowerment of mountain women. My own research in studying SMD focuses on Austria. UVU takes pride in our strong relationship with the Republic of Austria, having hosted the president of ECOSOC, the permanent representative of Austria to the United Nations, Ambassador Martin Sajic in 2015, and one of his successors, Ambassador Jan Kiekert in 2019. I wish to extend my gratitude to Mr. Matthias Sotz of the Austrian Foreign Ministry for collaborating and providing official numbers and information about Austria's contribution to SMD for my research. I hope that we can continue with further interaction and collaboration. I'm certain that SMD advocacy through SEL can make education a pillar for the implementation of the United Nations Resolutions 5 years of action for the development of mountain regions. By investing in mountain women and girls, we are investing in the future. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Danielle Kisa. Bring it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Danielle Kisa, and I'm a biology student at Utah Valley University. I'm fortunate to speak before you today thanks to the UVU class, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which is based on the inclusive student-engaged learning model. This class has granted non-traditional students like myself the opportunity to speak in support of mountain women and girls at this highest gender-focused forum on Earth. I am a mother, a wife, a student, a full-time student, and a student curator employed at the UVU Herbarium, working towards a new career in conservation ecology. Speaking from personal experience, I have faced many challenges related to working in the field of biology, such as intellectual disrespect and misunderstanding time restraints due to being a mother and a student. Due to my experiences, I have blazed my own trail, and the SEL model has enabled me further. Today, I would like to invite you all to think about the Indigenous women of mountainous regions, as well as all over the world. These women are traditionally keepers of knowledge, holding the great responsibility of passing down their Indigenous lifeways, ecological understanding, and environmental stewardship. Through their culture and living intimately in their environment, they have Indigenous scientific knowledge. In the herbarium, we use SEL via curation, and through this, I have been introduced to the philosophy of decolonial methods within ecology and botanical research. This means dispelling ignorance, removing bias, and creating space for alternative knowledge. This leads to a diverse and inclusive ideology in our lab, fieldwork, and personal lives by taking into account traditions, knowledge, and experiences of Indigenous communities. From these women, I have been inspired to learn about and incorporate decolonizing methodologies in my future career while making changes in the canon of Western scientific research to start encompassing these methodologies. I give thanks to the many Indigenous researchers that have put their knowledge into well-written books and papers and shared them with the world. During my college career, I have been able to test my knowledge, strengthen it, and correct it with the aid of SEL. With the skills I have learned, I will enter the workforce with confidence as a woman in science, setting an example for my son while working towards sustainability. And someday, I aspire to be an inspiration for other women and girls to pursue their dreams and to never give up, as numerous women have been for me. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Priyanka Premkumar. I'm a researcher and primarily work on improving sustainable food systems, that is SDG 2, and sustainable education, that is SDG 4, particularly in the rural and mountainous regions. According to Statista, India's demographic dividend, in terms of one of the youngest populations in the world, is considered the driving force for its future economic growth. But children in rural and mountainous areas usually have low access to private schools and digital technology, thereby creating an opportunity gap for the economically weaker sections of the society. Since independence in 1947, the literacy rate has increased by 6 times, and at the same time, it has the largest illiterate population of 287 million. Based on National Statistical Office data, the Indian state with the highest literacy rate is Kerala, which is 96.2% literate, followed by Mizoram, which is 91.6% literate. The literacy rate in urban areas is 87.7%, and in the rural areas, it is 73.5%. India has been ranked low on various indices that measure gender equality. The World Bank expressed concerns regarding crimes against women, leading to a decline in the female labor force participation. Meanwhile, 451 Research, a technology research group within S&P Global Market Intelligence, recently corrected a Western stereotype that gender inequality in the informational technology area is much worse in India in comparison with the West. In reality, the number of women employed in the IT industry in India now makes up 36% of the IT workforce, of which 51% are entry-level recruits and over 25% are in managerial positions. My professional career is an example of the growing role of women in India in the IT area. During my internship as a researcher for an organization called AI for Rural, our work in the rural and the mountainous regions of Ghana and Niger was to improve food security and reduce poverty among female smallholders. AI for Rural has partnered with Utah International Mountain Forum, a coalition of student clubs at UVU since 2015, with a focus on promoting sustainable mountain development through student-engaged learning model in the state of Utah and globally. My presentation at the UN conference, Why It Matters, hosted at UVU in October 2022, focused on improving the livelihoods of mountainous people in India using sustainable development with the help of artificial intelligence to empower and educate the farmers to maximize productivity. I have my master's in electronics engineering from Anna University, India, and now pursuing my second master's in data science from Indiana University, Bloomington. I was honored to speak in support of mountain women in India and globally at the side event during CSW 67. I thank the Utah International Mountain Forum, the permanent representative of the Kyrgyz Republic to the UN, Ambassador Ada Kasamalieva, and the Mountain Partnership for providing me an opportunity to do this last year. The outcome of the SEL model highlights mainly the efforts of the students to build jointly new ideas for SMD and to help their communities while their teacher mentors them. Also, SEL could help in the implementation of the UNGA resolution, 5 years of action for the development of mountain regions. I hope in the near future, this model will also be adopted by universities in India. I'm proud to participate in this event of the 68th session of the UN Commission on the Status of Women. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Noah Farnsworth. I'm a political science student here at Utah Valley University and a vice president of the Utah International Mountain Forum, which is a coalition of student clubs at UVU. I thank the UMF for allowing me to speak in support of mountain women and girls during this parallel event within the 68th session of the Commission on the Status of Women. I hope to show how UVU student-engaged learning, SEL, can be a model to accomplish our common goal of sustainable development and the empowerment of women and girls in the mountainous regions as a student-driven initiative. I was fortunate to be raised in a household in Utah where education was highly valued. With my father's extensive experience as an educator and administrator, my mother's dedication to extending learning opportunities for me and my siblings beyond the classroom, they both played an integral role in shaping my educational journey. Growing up in Utah, I was never fully aware of some of the challenges mountain communities experience. During the COVID-19 pandemic, these rural communities were disproportionately affected by limited healthcare access, economic suffering, and a technological divide. My father shared with me an inspiring initiative undertaken by his school district to support rural communities in need. Recognize the lack of technology and internet access in many of these areas, especially as children were required to stay home from school the district took action. They deployed buses to equip with satellite dishes, along with providing laptops to these communities, ensuring that students have the tools necessary to continue their education remotely. While this effort represents just one facet of the challenges faced by mountain communities in Utah, it also serves as a shining example of positive action and support in times of adversity. It also causes me to ask a question how mountain communities around the world dealt with these same problems. My time at UVU as a political science major, especially my work in research with public policy, has taught me the value of engaged learning. Successful students make successful contributors to society. I've also noticed a declining trend in the world's value for education, especially women in education. Teaching women their value and helping them be involved in solving the problems of the future will exponentially increase the output of our time and energy in education. I believe UVU's SEL educational initiative is a perfect example of empowering women everywhere. It is teaching students here that their efforts and voice matter. It's teaching them that they have the power to change their lives and live in a world that they are proud of. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mary Cisneros. As an undergraduate at Utah Valley University, I had the honor to contribute to the 2015 Women of the Mountains International Conference held under the auspices of the United Nations Mountain Partnership. It was a stellar effort by the community, the faculty, and the engaged students, which included non-traditional learners such as me. The conference was a success, with women coming from 20 mountain states worldwide to Orem, Utah to participate. Women who came and were involved in the conference communicated concern about world hunger. It became quite obvious through this engaged learning experience that women in particular can solve the world's problems also through STEM education. This event was an eye-opener for me in the way that I recognized the importance of engaged learning in our schools and universities, and as a non-traditional student, it meant all the difference to my career to be part of such an ambitious project. I was responsible for organizing a business fair and moderating a session on women's role in business. During the organizing process, Dr. Abdusev, as our mentor, and I included, went all over the state of Utah to bring awareness to this event, with many people expressing much enthusiasm for having the opportunity to also share their important and valuable work. This work is extremely beneficial for the education of non-traditional women learners, and for it to continue, it needs our support. The conference was highlighted by the United Nations Secretary General's Report on Sustainable Mountain Development in 2016 as hosted by students through Clubs Coalition. This laid a foundation for UVU students every year to participate in the sessions of the Commission on the Status of Women. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Abraham Wiesler, and I am a non-traditional student studying towards a political science degree here at Utah Valley University with a focus on global politics. I was born here in Utah, but grew up entirely in the suburbs of Chicago, an urban melting pot that contrasts starkly with the mountain environment here in the Western United States. Upon graduating high school, I lived in New York City for 2 years as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, mostly among the Hispanic communities there. It was common for the congregation at church to have individuals and families from 15 or more different countries, many of them specifically from mountain regions. That experience gave me a unique perspective on the opportunity that living in America symbolizes for much of the rest of the world. The United States does not only represent the American dream, but also a dream of equality for women to be empowered as rich contributors in their community. After my mission trip, I moved here to Utah for my studies and have enjoyed the rich heritage of women empowerment that this state offers. The mountain communities of Utah and Wyoming were the first 2 states to guarantee and protect women's suffrage, passing those laws before even being granted statehood in 1870 and 1869, respectively. I am now married to a woman from this beautiful state, and we have a little girl who was born last year, which has reaffirmed my dedication to advocating for continued women empowerment. I'm extremely grateful to be involved with student engaged learning organizations here at UVU, which help students like me get involved with the university, as well as with local community leaders and industry professionals who all share these crucial goals. I have been able to rub shoulders with impressive men and women who have shared their journey of advocacy with us, mentoring the next generation of leaders, stewards, and visionaries. Together with you, our combined efforts to empower women both here in Utah and around the world will help inspire excellence, create community, and ensure that the opportunities that have been afforded to me and my colleagues become a reality for many others. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thomas Munson, and I'm a political science student at Utah Valley University. The empowerment of women in mountain communities is absolutely crucial for us to defend and encourage. Every woman is important, from islands to the mountains, and today I will focus on the mountain women in Switzerland and the great model they have been for me. While I am a Utah native, my family and I have had the privilege to grow up in schools in Switzerland. I was also blessed with a Swiss grandmother named Heidi. She lived and climbed in the Swiss Alps near Zurich. She taught my 3 siblings and I the importance of the mountains, keeping the environment clean, and respecting my environment. She taught us how to create a sustainable environment, like when she taught us to pick up the litter of others that wasn't disposed of properly. Her example to me is why we need to empower mountain women across the world to learn sustainable practices. Through one woman, you can teach a family, as my grandma Heidi did. I was also able to gain more personal experiences of mountain culture and heritage in Switzerland through my missionary work for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints during 2018 through 2020. These 2 years let me deeply understand the culture, traditions, and way of life of mountain communities and families. It helped me understand just how important the women are in Switzerland and the impact they bring towards creating a healthy, sustainable economy and land. At Utah Valley University, I've had the opportunity to experience through this United Nations Sustainable Development Goals class, the Student Engaged Learning Model, or SEL. SEL helps students solve issues together with teachers as their mentors. Most importantly, it also gives traditional and non-traditional students an area to work together. As a non-traditional student who has a family and works part-time, I'm given so many opportunities to grow my education. Such opportunities include this class hosting a multitude of dignitaries to learn from. Everything from logistics to media coverage was handled by students in hosting these dignitaries. This model lets me share my experiences and knowledge with younger traditional students while still giving me a very practical and hands-on experience. The result of this is a student-focused and student-driven educational initiative. This student-engaged learning model is a simple and effective tool that can easily be incorporated in any community, including rural and mountain areas. I urge everyone to implement it.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Richard Fa, a political science student at UVU with a focus on global politics and international relations. First, I want to thank the Utah International Mountain Forum and a coalition of student clubs at UVU and my professor for allowing me to speak and promote the status of women of mountain communities at this year's sessions of the Commission of the Status of Women. First, I think it's appropriate to give my own experience with mountain communities and families. I come from a half Lebanese, half Armenian background, and while I haven't personally visited Armenia, I have been to Lebanon so many times and been in to many different areas, from the streets of Beirut to above the clouds in Tangerine. I started to notice a pattern. The farther you get from Beirut, the more backwards it felt. To explain this, we need an example. In my hometown of the mountainous Atshana, they have a focus on heritage and traditional values that includes traditional family house roles. However, that has been changing recently. Throughout my time at UVU, I have been a part of multiple courses and clubs where I got to experience as a student engaged learning. Currently, I'm taking part of 2 classes that also use student engaged learning, World Diplomacy and this class, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In these classes, I'm researching the diplomacy and the sustainable development goals of Armenia as a state of my choice. I looked at the current crisis, the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Artsakh and refugee crisis, among others. During this research, I also learned how much work the women do. One example is Olena Shevchuk, the president of the nonprofit organization Dopomoga, whose goal is to provide aid to the Ukrainian refugees in Armenia. So they give aid such as clothes, foods, toys, and a classroom where they teach those who newly arrived to Armenian, English, and other languages like Czech. It's amazing to look at her story and how much of an impact she has on the community there. There's also negatives. From 2021-2022 report of the United Nations Development Program, 52.2% of the population in Armenia are women, and within that percentile, 56 of them have received a higher education. And the representation of women in government positions is low, with parliamentary representation being at 24.4% and local governments below 10%. There are pushes to help women around the nation. In the town of Salkhazor, for example, 15 chiefs of the regional police of Armenia participated in specialized training on supporting women who have suffered domestic violence and assault. Additional opportunities for local government and local communities includes programs to adopt educational initiatives like student-engaged learning in the universities and schools, which will provide students with opportunities to empower themselves with skills and knowledge and advocacy for mountain women and to help their communities at home.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Van Workum. As a student studying political science here at Utah Valley University, I am grateful to participate in this Commission on the Status of Women through the Utah International Mountain Forum. Women have a critical role to play in sustainable development, but too often we are barred from participation. This access barrier is particularly high for women in mountain regions, compounded by harsh conditions and lack of economic support. Despite what seem to be insurmountable odds, women in mountain communities continue to fight for a seat at the table. I have witnessed this firsthand as I volunteered to offer mentorship and teach citizenship classes for refugee women in Utah. Through the organization Women of the World, which was founded and is directed by Samira Harnish, a refugee woman herself, I saw just how important it is to support pathways of access for every woman, especially in mountain regions. When resources and support are provided to women, communities flourish, and a future of sustainable development is easier to reach. At Utah Valley University, I am currently enrolled in the course United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This class uses a model called Student Engaged Learning, or SEL, which allows students to solve real-world problems through joint efforts alongside professors who are mentoring us. This model of collaborative learning provides unique opportunities to women attending UVU to empower ourselves with new knowledge and skills, through which we can empower our own communities. This semester, I have studied the critical role mountain women play in their communities in the Hellenic Republic, especially when it comes to local leadership. Mountainous regions are home to resources that are rapidly depleting as we battle both the causes and effects of climate change. These regions have the unique opportunity to place women at the forefront of efforts to combat climate change and manage our limited resources. As stated by the World Bank, a growing body of evidence shows that women's participation and leadership in climate action is associated with better resource governance, conservation outcomes, and disaster readiness. Through the SEL model employed by the UIMF, women at UVU have shown that in positions of leadership, women enact deeply impactful change. Implementing this educational model in mountain communities in other parts of the world can help to create similar opportunities for women. All we need is a seat at the decision-making table. Thank you for your time.
Dear participants of the 68th United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, dear President of the Utah International Mountain Forum, Coalition of Clubs at the Utah Valley University, Stefan Alhidson. My name is Dastan Adikov. I'm the President of the Sustainable Mountain Development Foundation and ex-President of the Ragnarok Bishkek. It's an honor to address you today, and I thank the UIMF for allowing me to speak during this parallel event in support of women and girls from mountain communities. A significant problem that many girls around the world, especially in the mountain areas, face is the inaccessibility to education. These communities should be included in the final resolution of the current session of the Commission on the Status of Women due to the many challenges to achieving sustainable development. In February 2023, I had the privilege of visiting mountainous Utah with the ambassador of the Kyrgyz Republic to the United States, Bakhtiar Mambayev, and met with the UIMF members for the first time. It was a pleasure to work with you through a student engaged learning model and speak at the 2023 UVU International Mountain Day observation as well as the World Polo Day celebration. This allowed me to get connected with you all and all local Utah communities on important issues for all of us mountain people. I've also been involved in discussion of our businessmen from the IT industry with the Utah Silicon Club businesses last September, and I was very happy to see relationship between the Kyrgyz Republic and Utah strengthening in various ways. We are excited to participate in this establishing Rotaract and Rotary clubs in Osh, the southern capital of the Kyrgyz Republic, to advocate jointly for the sustainable development of our mountain communities. I'm encouraged by the long-standing partnership between UVU and Osh Technological University. As an entrepreneur and representative of my generation, I have been inspired by the development and opportunities in Utah. This inspiration led me to establish the Sustainable Mountain Development Foundation. Through this foundation, we aim to empower young people, foster education and connections, and promote self-sustainability within communities not only in Kyrgyz Republic, but also in Utah. I'm hopeful for collaboration with the Honorable Congressman Joseph Pitts, with whom I spoke during IMD 2023, and who has been advocating for the relationship between Kyrgyz Republic and United States for over 30 years. With the establishment of Joe Pitts Center for Public Policy at Asbury University in Kentucky, I hope that we can partner in promoting sustainable mountain development within communities from the Appalachian Mountains. And I'm confident that our growing trilateral partnership between UVU, Asbury University, and academic institution in Kyrgyzstan based in the SEL will make a difference not only for our communities, but also for the rest of the mountain world. Thank you for your time.
I'll present. Now I'd like to share a video from Nurlana Nurlava.
Please give a thumbs up if you can hear the video.
Dear Ambassador Kassimaliba and Ambassador Lopa Hritapa, thank you for allowing me to speak during this event in support of mountain women. Empowering women economically and ensuring access to healthcare in vital steps towards gender equality and poverty elevation. Dismantling discriminatory laws and practices is equally crucial. Investing in women's empowerment is not just a moral right, but strategically imperative for social prosperity. I will be glad to tell you about the contributions of Bishkek Nomad Rotary Club members in the implementations of sustainable development of mountain communities in the Kyrgyz Republic. The Rotary Club in Bishkek was founded in 2017 by Rotary Club of Bishkek. Dedicated to fostering positive change, particularly in empowering women, our club champions initiatives to break barriers hindering women's education and economic opportunities. Our recent projects at home, the Central Asian Inclusive Model of the United Nations, focus on promoting human rights with a special emphasis on women's rights. By bringing together individuals from across Central Asia, we sought to address challenges and explore solutions to empower women. In addition to advocacy, we actively support women in need through practical initiatives like charity events and educational programs. Collaborating with organizations such as United Nations, Women's Mission in Kyrgyzstan, raise awareness and advocate for policy change to combat gender inequality. The nexus between poverty and gender inequality is stuck. Women disproportionately affected by poverty face limited access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. Addressing this requires increasing educational accessibility, combating stereotypes, and ensuring infrastructure and institution safety. We were glad to work with Rotaractors from Utah Valley University during last year by jointly hosting the World Polo Day on October 24, 2023, and the International Mountain Day at Utah Valley University on December 2, 2023. Rotaract as a club helped us to jointly implement a student-engaged learning educational model, which involves students in resolving practical problems through joint efforts with the teacher and usually mentoring the student team. These actions help us to be better prepared for today's side event when each of our teams was working on preparing agenda, solving logistic, protocol, and other issues, including raising funds. We are also excited to extend this collaboration with Utah University Retractors to our country, in particular through the involvement of students from our technological university by creating the Rotary Club. This will make our sustainable mountain development advocacy initiatives driven by students through CAL and contribute to the implementation of 5-year action for development of mountain regions. Thank you for your attention.
Right now, I'd like to share a video from the Mountain Partnership. To complete.
Hello, my name is Ritika Gupta, and I am here representing the Mountain Youth Hub of the Mountain Partnership, which I co-founded and co-lead with a group of young professionals committed to advancing sustainable mountain development. I am a forester by training and was born and raised in Virginia. I presently live in Canada, where I work on wildfire policy. From a country girl to navigating city life to a young mountain advocate, my path was shaped by visits to the Indian Himalayan region during summer breaks. Every year, I saw the valleys transform as a result of deforestation, land degradation, and landslides. And I saw mountain communities struggle in every aspect of life. Last summer, I found myself in the Italian Alps taking a training course focused on youth and mountain forests. I learned and conversed with youth from 26 different countries about the effects of climate change on mountain ecosystems and the importance of sustainable management and restoration of mountain areas to sustain mountain livelihoods. We also learned about the 5 years of action for the development of mountain regions, 2023 to 2027. This action plan represents an opportunity to raise awareness of the challenges faced by mountain environments and peoples, and shift the global narrative on mountains from inaction to one of action. As part of our commitment to sustainable mountain development, my classmates and I felt the importance of issuing a youth call to action to support this plan. Through this youth call to action, we founded the Mountain Youth Hub. The Mountain Youth Hub is a youth-led initiative to empower and mobilize youth across mountainous regions and foster a network of mountain sustainability. Mountain ecosystems and their communities remain overlooked on both national and international environmental agendas, despite their particular sensitivities to climate change, land degradation, deforestation, and extreme weather events from which they recover slowly. It is important to remark that mountains are not only diverse in biodiversity, but even more diverse in language, culture, and thinking. For example, in the Indian Himalayan region alone, there are more than 50 languages and dialects spoken. Women are vital to environmental action in mountain ecosystems. They contribute to resource management, biodiversity conservation, water, and food security. Whether they reside on Mount Kilimanjaro, in the Himalayas, or in the Andes, these resilient women are often the primary managers of mountain resources. To realize the potential of mountain women and girls, the Mountain Youth Hub envisions to support their access to education by preparing and translating educational and training materials on sustainable mountain development from and to local languages and dialects, and support their development by providing access to information on climate change, sustainable mountain practices, and topics relating to mountain sustainability that can be implemented in daily mountain life. By contributing to this forum, we wish to initiate dialogue not only with mountain youth, but with all young professionals committed to enhancing educational opportunities for mountain women and girls and forwarding the mountain agenda. We are happy that we have established such cooperation with the Utah International Mountain Forum, and we look forward to building more initiatives with the UIMF in the future. With that, I take this opportunity to invite those of you who are interested in being the change for mountains to join the Mountain Youth Hub. Thank you. You will now hear from a few Mountain Youth Hub members on how they're contributing to the mountain agenda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniela Manzano. I live in the Andes Mountain range of Ecuador. In mountainous regions like ours, we encountered many issues, including limited access to services, soil erosion, the need for sustainable agriculture, and economic opportunities, especially for women. As a geographical engineer working at the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, my role involves harnessing the power of geospatial technology by mapping land use, resources, infrastructure, and agricultural productivity. We provide vital insights for policymakers. This enables them to formulate informed decisions that prioritize the well-being for our communities and the creation of an equitable and sustainable future for Ecuador and its mountain region.
Hi everyone, I'm Leila from Lebanon, and more specifically, Mount Lebanon. This place is where I was born, lived, grew up, learned, and made memories. Unfortunately, Lebanon has been scoring higher migration rates every year. Lebanese people, especially youth, leave the country seeking better job opportunities, higher education levels, security, and stability. Historically, Lebanese mountains were cherished in local culture. In one of our traditional folk songs, we say, نبقى هون ما بنترك جبلنا، تراب الأرز أغلى من الذهب. Meaning that here we will stay and won't leave our mountain. The soil beneath cedar trees is more valuable than gold. With our efforts on empowerment, capacity building, and education, we would be able to root people back in the Lebanese mountains alongside millennial cedar trees.
I'm Lucio, co-leading the Mountain Youth Hub right here from the Patagonian region of my country, Argentina. Our aim in the Mountain Youth Hub is simple but powerful: to connect and support youth living and working in mountain areas all around the world. Within the realm of environmental stewardship, women are considered key actors for the management of mountain resources, biodiversity, and traditional knowledge. That's why in the Mountain Youth Hub, we advocate for gender equality and for expanding educational opportunities for women and girls all around the world.
Hola, mi nombre es Benedicta Carrascal Gualaime, soy de la comunidad de Tolconi, estudio en la universidad en la carrera de Administración de Negocios Agropecuarios, y yo creo que la educación en la universidad es muy importante ya que nos brinda oportunidad de desarrollo y conocimientos, y asimismo podemos contribuir en la mejora de nuestra comunidad. Hola, yo soy Marina de Yo vivo en la comunidad de Tolconi. También es importante para niñas y mujeres ya que nos ayuda a emprender y ser independientes, lo que nos proponemos. En un medio donde vivimos hay muchos recursos que mejor aprovechamos. El empaque, el de productos, todos y otros que podemos utilizar. Y nosotros compartimos estas ideas con nuestros hijos, con nuestra familia, y también nos ayudan a poder mujeres artesanas, así como.
Namaste, everyone. I am Sambad Ranawat from Nepal, an agricultural graduate, youth activist, and working in an NGO, Liver, based in Nepal. Climate change is an inevitable process. It affects many regions. Among them, mountain regions are highly vulnerable and sensitive to them. Glacier lake outburst, melting of the snow, phenological shift, unpredictable rainfall, and incidence of new disease and pests are the challenges faced by the mountain people, which is affecting the food security, livelihood, and resilient community. Youth play a significant role for the sustainable development of the mountain region. Youth can use their social media platform to create awareness about the different innovation and practices about agroecology, alternative resource, alternative energy source that can be utilized in the mountainous region. Also, youth can be part of different initiatives such as Mountain Youth Hub, which has aimed for the collective youth action across the globe.
For those wanting to join the Mountain Youth Hub, a link will be provided in the chat of this meeting. Now, we will hear two speeches that I will read of individuals who were not able to attend this meeting. First one is by Jacob Allen Bernthorn, and he said, "Good morning, everyone. It is my privilege to speak today as a political science student of Utah Valley University in support of communities, families, and women, especially in mountain areas around the world. As part of my academic studies, I will be addressing the importance of non-traditional students in empowering women and nations. Mountain nations face many challenges, not least among them in developing robust economic industries and political institutions. The reasons for this challenge are many, including harsh natural conditions, but I will be focusing on one particular issue, the immigration of highly educated individuals away from their home nations. Education is a core aspect of promoting sustainable development goals and holds the promise of significantly increasing standards of living in nations that invest into it. However, much of this bears little fruit when those individuals that have been invested in it decide decide it is in their interest to apply that education elsewhere and leave. However, there is a large subject of people within education who have greater ties to their communities. These are people with greater barriers to immigrate, who are more deeply involved with those around them. I am talking about non-traditional students, bringing focus to those students who are older with families and jobs in their communities, and additional experience in the area can offer a unique benefit within the classroom. But they also hold the potential of being less susceptible to brain drain, with greater motivations to remain in their communities and apply those skills to help those around them. This is something that I have experienced firsthand. When I first moved to Utah, I had every intention of moving away once I had my degree. But as I've lived here and grown older, I have developed deep connections here, even joining the Utah National Guard. This is something that hadn't happened earlier in my life. And it is in these connections that convinced me of the need to give back to this wonderful community. UVU is a strong proponent of utilizing the student engaged learning model as a method to support and assist those non-traditional students. By fostering participation in extracurricular academics, it provides more opportunities for non-traditional students to both apply and share their unique experiences. It also provides the opportunity for these experiences to happen outside of normal academic schedules, bringing both flexibility and breadth of experience to those outside obligations that may otherwise prevent such growth. I hope that I have brought a new perspective to this issue and urge the continued support for any programs that UVU has fostered and developed to address the issues facing mountain nations around the world. Thank you. The second speech is by Jinwoo Song, and this is what he said. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jinwoo Song, and I am a political science student at Utah Valley University. I thank the Utah International Mountain Forum, a coalition of student clubs at UVU, for allowing me to advocate for women and girls from mountain communities to be in the focus of this session of the Commission of the Status of Women. Globally, they are challenged in achieving sustainable development not only by harsh natural conditions, including climate change, but also the lack of services and economic opportunities. I know about this from my own experience in my native South Korea when I served in the military. My unit was stationed in a small mountain town. I have seen cases in which women in particular were subject to unreasonable treatment and discrimination compared to urban centers in Korea. I remember being quite concerned that the situation was more serious than I expected. In 2021, as a UVU student, I enrolled in the class called United Nations, and in the class about sustainable development goals as well. During these classes, I've had the experience through student engaged learning to study one country and be able to discuss various issues with my peers and play a role in establishing and coordinating opinions, including through research. SEL stimulated us students to work as groups on solving certain practical problems, and our teacher advised us when we needed help. I was able to effectively approach the main theme of UMIF, which is for sustainable development of women and families in mountainous regions globally. In a current class on United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, by studying assignments and taking quizzes, I was able not only to understand activities of UMIF, but also involved in some of them as well. These activities taught us how we can be successful in using SEL through UMIF to serve local communities. We also hosted dignitaries like UVU alumni Tony Medina and John McClure, who told us how the model helped them advance in different roles in the U.S. government and law enforcement institutions. I gained knowledge about the Sustainable Mountain Development Goals importance, including mountain targets that are designed to address a range of interconnected challenges facing the world, including mountain communities to deal with poverty, inequality, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. The whole concept of SDGs is showing my peers and my direction and demonstrating student success through SEL and UMIF. My research in 2 classes during this semester focuses on the ongoing multi-bilateral diplomatic efforts in resolving violence and conflicts in Bolivia and Turkey. I study how women play a critical role in environmental protection in mountain areas in both states, and how strengthening countryside women is critical to decreasing hunger and poverty. However, due to the discrimination in social norms, they still encounter more barriers regarding access to strategic resources and opportunities to make their voices heard. To solve these problems, society and men in particular need to change existing perspectives on women's advancement and strengthen their capabilities by adopting various measures to empower them. One of the solutions could be to adopt similar educational initiatives in their local universities, which will provide students opportunities to empower themselves with skills and knowledge about SDGs and mountain targets implementation, and then help their communities as well. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Atkinson, and I am the president of Utah International Mountain Forum, UIMF, at Utah Valley University. I stand before you to share our vision and accomplishments, deeply rooted in the principles of sustainable mountain development and the transformative power of student-engaged learning. Our journey, guided by the innovative SEL model, illustrates the profound impact of merging academic dedication with tangible community action. We, as students, are not only advocates for our environment and communities, but are also pioneering a learning model that we believe should be adopted globally. Our work, significantly enhanced by the leadership of Paul Summer from the Bountiful Rotary Club and Keith Morgan of the Orem Linden Rotary, has led to vital contributions to the Navajo Nation and the Kenosh Paiutes. From delivering essential supplies to Red Mesa and to Halchita, to the comprehensive renovation of community centers and the future development of playgrounds, our initiatives reflect our unwavering commitment to service and impact. Through SEL, we have had the extraordinary opportunity to host recently distinguished figures such as Ambassador of the Kyrgyz Republic to the United Nations, His Excellency Baktibek Amabayev, and President of the United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency Mr. Costa Koroshi. These engagements have not only enriched our advocacy efforts, but also garnered international recognition for our cause. The praise from Ambassador Koroshi during his visit is a testament to the global reassurance of our work, emphasizing the importance of our continued efforts in sustainable mountain development. As a non-traditional student attending my 3rd commission on the status of women, I have been privileged to witness the evolution of global advocacy and the instrumental role UVU plays in this arena. The introduction of a global politics minor, supported by esteemed faculty members, such as Dr. Jada Sarb and former Ambassador Dr. Baktibek Abasayev, marks a significant milestone in preparing the next generation of leaders in global policy and international relations. At this pivotal moment, I wish to extend our deepest gratitude to UVU's History and Political Science Department. Their support provides academic rigor and resources essential for navigating the challenges of global and local advocacy. Our successes fueled by partnerships, academic support, and a shared vision for a sustainable and just future, underscore the transformative potential of student-led initiatives. In closing, I thank each and every one of you for your support and solidarity. Thank you for standing with us in this vital mission as we advocate for the adoption of SEL model globally, ensuring that students everywhere can contribute meaningfully to the world's most pressing challenges. Thank you.
We would like to thank all the speakers who have presented this day. And now we will open up the floor for any questions that anyone may have. If you have a question, please send it into the chat. We will read it and address. If there be no questions in the chat, then I will ask questions to the presenters. And believe me, I have questions for all of you. A little bit. I will ask Dr. Butler first in case no one has any questions. Okay, so Dr. Butler, you have already earned a PhD. So why have you joined an undergraduate class as a student?
Thank you for that question. I have been involved in education a long time, but one of the things that I have learned in my life of many decades is that ongoing education is very healthy for the mind. It keeps my brain active. It keeps me involved with young people who are striving to really make a difference in the world. And it's exciting to me, even though I have put many, many miles of travel and visited many nations and countries and cultures. Nevertheless, I find great joy and learning in engaging with students with great vision, such as the students in this class. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Butler. Okay, Janessa, please come up. So as I call you, please come up. So, how do the mountains in Hawaii affect the population and lifestyle of Hawaiians?
So fortunately for me, I'm from Oahu. I'm on the countryside, so I don't really have personal experience with like difficulties with mountains. But the further you go out in the islands, in regards to Kauai and Maui, there are certain communities who are isolated where there's only like one road in, one road out, which makes it difficult to get aid in terms of like the fires and stuff that happened last year. So.
Thank you. Stephanie. No, you're coming, Stephanie. So, Stephanie, in your speech, you used the term gender equality. And just for clarification, so we're all on the same page, what exactly do you mean by gender equality?
Yeah, I'm more referring to equal opportunity, equal access, equal education, women getting credit for the work that they do, women having a voice in forums like this, elevating women's issues, listening to women as they speak about their experiences and believing women, eradicating a culture where sexual assault and rape is prevalent, and including women of color specifically and elevating their voices. That's my definition.
Okay, thank you. All right, Chris, could you please come up? Yeah, I guess, but it'll have a lot of static if we do it at other computers. Okay, so during your speech, you shared multiple things about your experience in the Republic of Congo. And I was curious, how could student-engaged learning help the people in the Republic of Congo? What's your experience with that?
That's a really fair question. I think there's a lot of things we can do as a student in my country or wherever, any country in the world. We just need to try to find if there is anything we can do, because we do have a lot of things we can do in our countries. We just need to love helping people and take a decision to act and go forward.
Okay, thank you. Braden. So, during your speech, you shared how you've been doing research about Austria. So, in your research, what have you learned about Austria and how could SEL benefit
Well,
there?
it's interesting mainly because I chose a very highly developed country, and that was, I guess, a unique way. And my research mainly was focusing on how the differences that how mountain development can be impacted through. I'm sorry about this.
Yeah, no
I'm
worries.
nervous, sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. But how mountain development can be impacted from one state to another using a highly developed country to help other more underdeveloped countries, and that communication between them. I think it's very similar to how we would do it in Utah due to the fact of the state of development here, and it can be used as a model in other countries as well. That's mainly how I see it.
The relocation of finances and other
Yes,
goods.
that's how I was looking at it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Danielle. So, during your speech, you shared how you're a wife, a mother, a student, but you're also working. So, to those worldwide, how do you balance family life with work and school responsibilities?
I actually get asked that question a lot. My main answer is really, if it's something that you want bad enough, you will make it work. It also really helps to have a really good support group. My family is amazing and they help me out a lot, especially with my son. And my husband especially is very, very supportive in everything that I'm doing. So he really helps make sure that he's there for my son. And yeah, just stay determined, take care of yourself and make sure that you're healthy and eating properly, get your sleep. And yes, no, seriously, sleep is a big deal. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you.
There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, it's nice to know I need to eat my vegetables. All right, Priyanka. So Priyanka, in your opinion, what will help women in India the most? Like with student engaged learning or other things?
I think that's a good question, first of all. So, helping them financially backed up and family support, I guess, that could help any woman from mountainous or rural areas, because they are always burdened with family responsibilities and other household things. And it is very difficult for them to come out of the hub, whether you are a youth or like a young girl or a woman also. So we should support them when they have ideas, which definitely is, I feel, is much more stable and sustainable than men. No offense, but we should support them financially, socially, and at home. It starts at home.
It starts at, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Priyanka. I guess we have time for 3 more questions. So, one more question? I'm sorry, 43. 43. Okay, one more question. Noah. There's the long straws. You're lucky. So Noah, in your speech, you said that you've seen a declining trend in the world's value for education, especially women in education. Where have you seen this and how could it be resolved?
I've seen this in my own family. I have a lot of older siblings, brothers, and they're married, have kids. And a lot of my sisters-in-laws don't have, they stopped their education or paused it to become mothers, which I think is an incredible thing. But I also think it's important for them to be provided opportunities to be involved in education. So I think the great thing about the SEL, as we heard from people here, is we have mothers and fathers here who balance their important role in the home and at the workforce with learning more. So providing opportunities like this for them to come back and be involved, even in a small part, I think I could see that helpful in my family, saying, well, this is important to me, or I like this or that, and I can help in my community. And also to be able to continue to learn what's happening in the world and how they can contribute to the world.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right, 1 second. So, first off, congratulations, everybody. Thank you so much for everything you've done. Oh. Welcome back. Would like to ask
With the permission, Hendon, thank you much for a great job which you did, and question to Dr. Butler, which is essence of our model. Yeah, I would like to remind that SDG number 4 states the following: yeah? Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. You see, we were able to implement inclusiveness, but lifelong learning, it means if you even be able to graduate from the UVU later, you could come and join, continue to, like we did, with other alumni, helping the current students to get advanced. And Dr. Butler, again, laying for us ground to do that way, as you could see, as a non-traditional student and trailblazer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So, in conclusion, we want to express our gratitude to our mentors. Without the support and mentorship of the UVU faculty, our student efforts would have been void and unheard. Thank you again for your participation in our showcase of how the student engaged learning model, can empower everyone to be lifelong learners and help improve their lives and communities, especially mountain communities. Thank you for your attendance.
Hopefully